Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the program to know more about the professional indemnity scheme by AMSI. We are helping our members to a great extent by enrolling ourselves in this professional indemnity scheme. And for this program, we have a fantastic group of panelists headed by Dr. Epan and Dr. George Paul, Dr. Ramakrishna Shanai, and Dr. Mukul. And before we start with the discussion, may I invite the President, Dr. Manjunath Rai, to speak a few words.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. So let me very happy to inform you all that the most awaited, the professional indemnity scheme, we have launched it on March 8th on Women's Day, and quite a few people have already joined this scheme. But as most of the we found out from the Google Forms also, there are a lot of members are not done the professional indemnity itself. So I should say this is a first step for AMSI to make when we say safety first. So safety first in all forms. It's not just in the surgery, in the way we conduct ourselves, and professional indemnity is something which is so important for every professional who is going to start doing any procedure. So today we have stalwarts from the field. We have Dr. Epan Thomas, who is going to initially brief you about the professional indemnity, and we have Jimson is going to moderate the discussion. We have the other panelist headed by Dr. George Paul, Dr. Ramakrishna Shanai, and Dr. Mukul. And also we have our Honorary General Secretary, Dr. Girish Rao, amongst us. And most of the things what we are trying to do is we will try to sort out most of your doubts or clarification as much as possible. Dr. Epan and all the other committee members are well versed with the questions, whatever you're going to pose. We have already received some certain questions from the State Secretaries group and from other members. So based on that, we will be continuing our discussion. So if anybody has any clarification, they can type that particular thing, doubts in the chat box, and Dr. Jimson will we'll put it across the panelists, and we'll try to as much as possible we'll try to any doubt as far as the professional indemnity is concerned, as far as the Dockland people who the team from which we are taking this service is concerned, we will try to brief you. If we and we would want to make it interactive. So with that, I'm very happy that we have launched this particular professional indemnity scheme is going to go a long way, because today, even though we have launched in this particular month, those who once become members, I'm sure they're going to continue to, because the scheme is whatever the tie-up what we have with the Dockland is something which is really good compared to most of the associations having a tie-up with the various other organizations. We could get, I mean, a big thanks to Dr. Epan, who's worked relentlessly from last 2-3 months. Meeting them, making them, and getting even the good offers from them and passing on to the members. Epan, I should congratulate you. You've done a very hard job, and your committee also has worked a lot. And I'm sure our panel of panelists would definitely make all your doubts clear. So over to you, Jimson. Thanks once again for having me here. And I'm very happy that today we are one more step. Professional indemnity for AMSI is something is going to go a long way. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, President Dr. Manjunath Rai, for those words of encouragement for all our members to become part of this professional indemnity scheme. And now may I invite the Honorary General Secretary, Dr. Girish Rao, to speak a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Jimson, for moderating this session. Delighted that AMSI is doing a lot of member-centric programs. We started off this year with the Social Security Scheme, which has been a super hit, I would say, just for the benefit of every member. We're taking this one step further and introducing the Professional Indemnity Scheme, specifically designed for maxillofacial surgeons. I mean, I think probably all of us who are, mid-level and senior level maxillofacial surgeons do have professional indemnity. Why is that we should be choosing this one is something which we are going to discuss today. And for that, we have Professor Eapen Thomas, who is going to give an intro into why this is an absolute necessity. And then we have a dynamic group of, senior consultants who are in the panel today. Dr. George Paul, who is, probably one of the most popular figures. He was the past general secretary, past president of AMSI. He also wears a hat of a legal consultant, and he's going to be in the panel today and share his vast experience as to why it is so important that we take this professional indemnity scheme from AMSI. We also have Dr. Ramkrishna Shanoy and Dr. Mukul Padye, who is also in the panel. This is going to be an interactive session. And one of the main things about this professional indemnity scheme is that it not only covers, but also you're going to get legal help. That is something which is, going to be extremely useful for all our members. So let us discuss today and look at what are the benefits so that more and more members are going to use this scheme. I'm sure you're going to find this a very interactive evening, and it's going to be useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Girish, for those words. And yes, indeed, AMSI has been very doing a lot of welfare schemes for the members, and one of that program is this professional indemnity scheme. And now we have go straight into the program. And before I start introducing the speaker and the panelists, for a small bit of information for the participants, you can kindly post all your queries in the chat box. We will take them one by one, and the panelists and the speaker, Dr. Eapen will take those questions and clarify all your doubts to the best of our ability. And now, may I invite Dr. Eapen Thomas to speak about professional indemnity by Docklands. And as the president and the secretary rightly said, he has done extent in the last few months, and he has worked on our behalf, all our AMSI members' behalf, and he has spent his time to bring this to our members. And may I invite Dr. Eapen Thomas, who is a professor and head of the department in a dental college in Kerala, to speak about AMSI Professional Indemnity Scheme. Over to you. And he's also the chairman of the Indemnity Committee, AMSI.
Thank you, Dr. Jimson, for those lovely words. Am I audible enough?
Yes. Yeah.
And is my screen visible to all?
Yes.
Okay, let's start off straight away. Now, this has been a project has been initially earlier initiated by the previous office, where they came up with this opinion, suggestion, and proposal about this indemnity. But from there, we took it and under the leadership of our dynamic Dr. Manjunatha Rai and a committee, like what you can see in the in this particular slide, comprising of all these luminaries. We have a proper structured committee at the center, where we actually discuss all these proceedings and matters pertaining to the Professional Indemnity Committee, and that's how it's finally become a reality, and it's been launched on 8th of March, and now it's in force. We also had a Google form survey. Like we had forwarded a Google form to know what is the the details pertaining the knowledge about the professional indemnity scheme amongst our members. And we didn't have so many of a response among the 150 responses, 136 responses. There are two important findings which I would like to bring to your highlight. The first and foremost thing is that a shocking fact that almost 45% of the total members of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons Association, or Aomsi, is not having a professional indemnity insurance. In the current scenario, with all this litigation on the rise, it is quite, such a risky task practicing without any indemnity cover. So we don't know exactly what the reason is, whether there's a lack of awareness about the risk what they are endangered to, or is it because taking too much for granted, or is it because all of them feel that we are all immune. So that is something what we should take it up, and we should reach the importance of these indemnities services to all the members and make them aware about the big and the huge risk what they are in without indemnity insurance in the current scenario. The second part is basically a lack of knowledge, which most of the members, about 47.3% or 47%, almost 50% of the members are not aware about the recent changes or the trends in compensation and the Consumer Protection Act 2019. What are the changes which has happened and which is actually making us more vulnerable or endangering us to these type of hefty, compensation. So these two things are from the various list of questions what actually we picked up to basically go ahead with this presentation. Now, with that brief introduction, and let us start off with this. Now, what is professional indemnity? I'm not going into the details. It's nothing but an insurance coverage which actually covers all the legal costs and the expenses, whatever is incurred in terms of a compensation or a claim coming against you in the court of law or the consumer protection or consumer courts. Now, why is that professional indemnity mandatory, or is it a need of the hour? Like I've told earlier, 46% is a huge percentage of our practicing members association who are, with this particular risk. So let me tell you, for the information of them, like what are the reasons why this particular indemnity insurance is a mandatory part out now. One, over the recent years, we have seen, so many times increased in the incidence of litigation against this medical professionals. That is one thing what you should be worried about. And we are more vulnerable because not like other surgeons, we are facial-maxillary surgeons, and anyone and everyone who works on the facial-maxillary region or the maxillofacial region are actually considered to be more vulnerable, and the litigations are being also in the increase against this maxillofacial surgeons or anything and everything procedures which is done on the face. Well, if we are not covered, the huge financial stress which is actually arising from the compensation demands might be a cause of a severe mental agony and something which can actually, take away your peace of mind. And the current scenario or the post-COVID scenario actually makes us vulnerable to be exposed to patients which are actually more prone or more like having comorbidities than the previous situations, and the likely incidence of complications are also on the rise in post-COVID patients. So that is again one of the reasons that we should be very much careful in treating such patients. Well, economic and financial crisis definitely has also played a major role. The COVID has struck each and everyone, has affected anyone and everyone from all tiers of the society, and actually brought about a lot of financial stress and strain, loss of job, and economically also. So people are out there to earn money in any way, whatever way possible. So whether it's right or wrong, by whatever way they're ready to do anything to get some sort of a money. So all these type of things, and with this, instigating fraternity, we are so blessed with, I'm not telling everyone, but we also have this fraternity, because most of the judges in the consumer court always says this, most of the cases arising from a doctor, against a doctor, is actually instigated by another doctor. So that is again one instigating fraternity is always behind. And of course, definitely unemployment, as I told you the reason, because when we pass out now with so many number of postgraduates passing out every year, in the dire straits, like without any job, and the stress for employment, and lack of opportunities actually drive them to a situation where they are ready to compromise the quality of treatment, or they're doing things which are not actually advocated, doing more adventurous treatment procedures which are actually unwarranted, and many things like that also happen. And of course, unemployment. I don't want to tell often, but among the lawyers too, the advocates, plenty of them out there who are there to support these patients, relatives and patients with instigating reasons, telling them, okay, now why don't we, sue them or sue him, and they know the details, So it's basically they are also one of the big group of people who's actually instigating our patients. And of course, treatment compromise, I've told you earlier, the current scenario have actually led to such situations. Now, these are few of the reasons which I would say a professional indemnity is a need of the hour. And the changes in the Consumer Protection Act has also brought about a lot of things what one should know. The earlier 1986 CPA, or the Consumer Protection Act, was amended in the year 2019, and it came into force in 2020. And in that, there are three levels in which consumer basically, or a complainant can approach the consumer court. One is a district court, which is the lowest court, then the state court or state forum, and then a national forum. So basically, it's a three-tier system, and each of them has been empowered with the amount of awarding a compensation to a maximum of 25 lakhs only in the district forum earlier till 2019, whereas the 2019 amended act has increased that level of awarding compensation from 25 lakhs up to 1 crore. So that you should understand, that is one very important factor. And the state redressal commission earlier was only entitled to a sum of between 25 lakhs to 1 crore, whereas now the state has been empowered to award anywhere between 1 crore to 10 crore. And the national level also, earlier it was above, and anything above 1 crore. And now, as per the national, they can award anything more than 10 crore. So the importance of this is, now anything and everything, any patient with any complaint can, with the help of an advocate, they can build up a case like anything. A person who's patient who has had a third molar extraction or an orthodontic surgery procedure is not actually met his expectations. And if you have a good advocate, they can actually build up the case. It is nothing, the amount of the claim awarded is got nothing to do with the actual expenses incurred for the patient. It's how the advocate build up the case. Change in the face, change in the appearance, inability to bite, digestion problem, health hazard, health problems, loss of taken leave, loss of job. See, they will build up like anything. And they know now the district forum, the lowest court, can award up to 1 crore. So for a procedure, maybe for an orthodontic surgery where you have charged something between 1 to 2 lakhs, the hospital bill, they can actually mount it up, and you might be dragged to the court of law for a compensation up to 1 crore in the lowest forum. Same thing, it up to 10 crore in the state court. So these are the increased, the chances anybody would like to take a chance, because even if you file a case against one of us, any patient files a case against one of us, and even if they lose, we can't go after them with a case of defamation. So that is something which actually encourages them. There are other factors also which makes the patient or a consumer very much vulnerable to go for a claim against doctors especially. So this is one very important factor that you also realize, that at the lowest court, that is the district commission, they can award up to 1 crore. And remember one thing, that the composition of the district commission is made up of 3 people, and there are no actual judges. The president of that particular district commission can be a judge or a person eligible to be judge. The 2 other persons are 2 people with bachelor's degree in either economics, law, commerce, accountancy, anything of that sort. And one of them should be a lady. So those 3 comprises the jury, which actually, discusses this case of these medico-legal aspects. And they also not much aware about the law, except for the president. All others are not much aware of the law. They don't have much, but most of them likely to think in terms of a consumer. So we should be actually prepared, and we should be actually, charged up knowing all this and keep ourselves safe and secure. That is one thing which I would like to mention. If anybody asks you what is the minimum sum what we should insure. Well, this is a second part which is actually making us more difficult than the earlier time. The Consumer Protection Act 2019, according to that, now earlier, like what the GP sir was telling, the cause of action or where the incident has occurred, that has got a jurisdiction. The complainant could file the complaint against that particular doctor only at that particular jurisdiction where the cause of action or where the incident has occurred. But Consumer Protection Act 2019 has changed everything. Now the complainant can, file this particular litigation against us where he or she resides, okay, or practices, and or it can be anywhere where the incident has happened. It can be where the doctor is working. So anywhere all these patients, any of these places, the consumer or the patient can file now. The problem now is, I might be a person working in Kerala. I might have now we have these immigrants or the so-called people from outside working here. If I do a third molar impaction for a person from West Bengal and he developed, paresthesia or any sort of such complications, and he goes back home and realizes that he has not yet recovered, he can approach the district forum in his state, West Bengal, and file a complaint against me. And if he has a good advocate, they can build up the case and the compensation award to anywhere between 0 to 1 crore. And then it's my duty and it's my privilege, may I call it, and my trouble, I rather call it, to move out to this particular place where in West Bengal I have to go and defend the case. So that is the situation if you don't have a legal backup, if you don't have a legal service, or even though you have an indemnity insurance, if you don't have a legal service or a legal backup, if your indemnity insurance company is not providing you the legal support, then it's your responsibility looking for advocates of your own, finding details, teach them, make them understand of the situation and scenario, prepare them, and then go with them whatever to fight the case. So this is again one major thing which is actually very much important to us, because we all treat patients from different parts of the country. So we all should be adequately equipped with adequate financial cover in terms of any indemnity arising for a person either from Kashmir to a case in Cochin or the other one anywhere. So a pan-India coverage is something what you should be looking for. And another one thing which is made very important, very easy for these consumers, that the national forum, the central government has made this complaint filing so easier that e-filing has become very easy now, and it's such a simple and such a easy. You just log into any of these sites, NCDRC, the National Council for Disputes and Redressal Commission. So you just log into these websites and click on the site. The first part is a registration, okay. The second part is a payment part. And the third part is filing. Now, registration is just, you click in a user ID and password, you get your registration. Payment, again, depends upon the amount to which you are actually complain, the compounding, the amount what you're asking for. Any amount up to 5 lakhs, no payment. Any amount up to 5 lakhs rupees, do not have any payment. And again, I'll come to the fee structure later. Filing is successful. It is such simple and easy thing, and you should see how the government promotes this. This is a website from the same official NCDRC site. They call it, e-Dakil application. See how they're promoting. File your case at the comfort of your home. Sit at home, be comfortable, and file. No more visits to the consumer forum if required. They're encouraging the consumers to become more aware about their rights and question things which they are not happy about or satisfied about. So that is a type of promotion. That is the type of, it's indirectly beneficial for us also as consumers for other aspects. But then we on the other side as medical practitioners should know that things have become much, much more easier for the consumer to file a case against you, even sitting at home, and he doesn't have to go to court, and this is so simple. They have also given step-by-step procedures for a consumer, video tutorials, okay, and download PDFs. It's all there in the site. So it's easy sitting at home. If you have a mobile or a laptop, just download these things, then learn, and video tutorial, everything is there. So just if you're not happy with the treatment, if you don't have if you have some sort of grievances, sit at home, file a complaint, and wait back results, put the doctor into trouble, and all headaches to him. You don't have anything to lose. That's what the complainant is so much happy about now as a consumer. So these are things what you should think about. E-filing has made things very much easier for these. And this is coming to complaining fees. Like I told you, any person who wants to complain against you in the court, the consumer court, up to an amount of 5 lakhs, you see, there is no fees at all. Up to an amount of 5 lakhs, absolutely no fees. Absolutely, and up to an amount of 1 crore, the amount what he has to pay is only 2,000 rupees. Okay, and up to 10 crore, the amount what he has to pay is 6,000 only. And up to 10 crores, about 10 crores, The amount what you have to pay is only 7,500. So that is the peanuts, I would say, when they think about the probability of getting a claim in their favor, and with an advocate, and with such low fee structure, anything is possible in the court of law. And the jury being composed of 3 people. One, I told you, a person who's eligible to be judge or judge. I'm talking district forum. And then the other 2 people who doesn't have any proper legal awareness, or who doesn't have much knowledge about the medical situations, that just can be considered as 2 consumers. So remember and think about all these vulnerabilities. And other fewer things include mandatory deposit. Now, suppose you lose a case in the district forum, you have a case against you, and you try to defend, and then finally you have lost it, and support the jury in the district forum, and awards a compensation of say 50 lakhs against your favor, and there is some sort of a chance for you, and you have not done it wrong, and you can prove it, you have adequate evidence. So the next forum would be a state forum, okay, or the state commission nowadays it's called. So if you want to go for an appeal in the upper court, okay, from a lower court, in the state commission, you have to deposit 50% of the compensation awarded. So 50 lakhs, if it's awarded against you in a district forum, if you want to go for an appeal in the state forum, you have to deposit 50% of the 50 lakhs. That means 25 lakhs. So just imagine now who's going to get the money. That means it's a huge amount, even if you want to go for a appeal. And the same thing holds true for a national also. So that is a situation, but that's about mandatory deposit. Earlier it was not that much. Earlier it was 0.5% of the sum, what you call penalty, minimum up to a maximum of 25,000 ceiling. That was the situation of appealing in higher court as per the CPA 1986 Act. But 2019 Act has actually changed it all in this ways. And consumer every day again can actually even opt for hearing through video conferences if the patient is good in arguing things, like he's got a person like somebody who can speak well about referring law and things like that. He can stay back at home, file a e-file, then he can actually opt for this video conferencing. And again, mediation cells is something which is actually in favor, I would say. Earlier they used to settle these matters in the lower forum, but nowadays, as the cases has been piled up after the COVID era, there has been no time for the consumer court to address all these issues. So this 2019 Act has brought a mediation cell option. So the consumer court, when you file a case in the district forum, they have the right to to forward this to a mediation cell where out of court settlement is possible or not. So that's about the reasons why and what changes in 2019 Act has. As doctors, I would say many things unfavorable for us if you are not very well guarded adequately. But as a consumer, very many things favorable for the consumer. But right now we are talking as a patient-doctor in the doctor relationship as being on the receiving end. So it's always better to be guarded, to be aware of these things, and make sure you are secure and safe practicingly. Now, for those who have this indemnity insurances, also should actually cross-check their policies. You might see these 3 terminologies in this. LOA is called limit of your annual limit of indemnity, and AOA is called basically any one accident. Any one accident means it's a coverage per accident what an indemnity gives you, what an insurance gives you. And AOY is your sum assured per year, okay, coverage per policy period, maximum how much can be. Now, why I'm telling is you might see an insurance policy with 1:1, 1:2, 1:3, or 1:4 ratio. You might not have even actually wondered what it is. You might have been so happy having achieved a policy or a policy insurance with such a cheap premium. You would not have actually gone into the details. So people might have given you a 1 crore cover for a very cheap amount. But remember, this is something which matters. I'll tell you how. If you are actually in the category of 1:1, and suppose you have a sum assured for 1 crore, that means for any incident or any one accident, we call it every incident as accident, okay? So any one claim, okay, you are eligible to utilize up to an amount of 1 crore, okay? That means if the claim is for 1 crore, and if your sum assured for that 1 year period is 1 crore, you are eligible to, get that up to 1 crore. Okay, so 1 crore is possible if it's 1:1. Now, suppose if you're in the policy, it's written 1:2, and if you have a 1 crore sum assured or a indemnity policy, That means you are eligible to only, your 1 crore will be distributed in 2 incidents. So per incident, maximum what you get, it's about 50 lakhs. So if you have a 1 crore policy and then you feel you are fully covered by this current situation, and if your ratio is AOI is to 1:2, that means you'll be getting only 50 lakhs for a claim, even if you are eligible for 1 crore. Same 1:3 means 3 times the sum, 1/3 of the total amount you have taken only will be given per claim. 1:4 means 1/4 of your total amount will be given for the claim. That is something what all of you should understand. See, imagine the last situation. If it was 1:4, you think you have a 1 crore, but when a claim comes, suppose about say 40 lakhs, when a claim comes against you, and then you feel you have taken 1 crore, fine. When it's time for settlement, the insurance says, sorry, your category is 1:4. We can't pay more than 25 lakhs. So remaining 15 lakhs for 40 lakhs, where you'll meet, you have to raise yourself. Okay, so thinking all these are minor things in an indemnity insurance that one should be aware about this particular ratio. So all these things was dealt in depth with this committee of professional indemnity of Aomsi, and we negotiated with them, and we made sure that our insurance policy, the current one, had this 1:1 ratio. It means the present Aomsi scheme, any incident you can get up to the sum assured. Whatever sum you have taken for that particular full amount, you can actually get it claimed if at all, but not more than that. And if it can be in multiple, suppose you have a 1 crore cover, I can take up, if I have 10 incidents, okay, of 10 lakh each, I can cover that, no problem. I don't have to take anything extra. Okay, but if I have a cover of 1 crore and my first incident itself I had to pay out at 1 crore, and in the second month, so any more claims during that particular period, you won't have any cash left with the insurance company because you have exceeded the available limit of the insurance. So that's about this particular indemnity cover and the ratio that one should be very careful whenever you're selecting. And because there are so many things they take advantage, the insurance companies or the agents more rather, not the insurance company, I would say. Now let's see what happens and what to do in case of an event, any sort of, if you receive a legal notice, do not panic, don't have to worry. In this, if you are a part of a Aomsi professional indemnity scheme, inform the document services, who's actually the mediator or the person who's actually providing your services. Just forward the legal notice to document services. Okay, they'll take up the responsibility and also provide the relevant details and records, whatever pertain to that patient. Document will serve, and from there onwards, no headache for you if you are adequately covered. So if you have a proper adequate sum in the insurance cover of the amount of what range of work what you do, don't have to worry about a legal notice from here on if you are a Aomsi professional indemnity scheme member. So one thing what you should be thinking about, are we covered? Yes or no? You should think about it now. It's high time, because I've told you so far, most of us, these 46% might not have had any legal or litigations. Thank God for that. But then remember that how and what situations we are in, and think about whether we are covered, and be sensible in taking decisions. Just imagine situations where we get a legal notice, totally unexpected, then you lose your peace of mind and full tension, agony from that day onwards. Okay, you might get dragged to the court of law. Okay, and then people around you and the patients around you talking about you and false propagandas or right propagandas, whatever it is going against you, and reputation could be actually brought down. You should have issues pertaining to that. And then again, you are, unless the case gets over, you are uncertain what's going to be the final verdict. Okay, for total, earlier in 3 months' time, the consumer protection cases used to get settled, but nowadays, with an increase in number, it can take years for the court issues to get settled. So till then, you have lost your mind, you have lost your peace, everything, and you don't know what's going to be in the what is kept for you as the final judgment, whether it's going to be fine and penalty, and all those things, and really scary things we don't know till the procedure gets over. And in fact, that could, the stress and the strain what you go through and the propagandas around you would really actually affect your career, and it can be a real question mark to your career also if it's not properly guarded. And that is the time when you should think, and that is where Aomsi professional indemnity scheme is come for you, to make sure that you are guarded under the umbrella of this insurance scheme with Aomsi as a support altogether. by the association for the members' safety and welfare, and to remain secure and guarded regarding this. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your patient listening. And over to my moderator for the remaining part. I think I exceeded the time a little bit, but then thank you once again.
Thank you, Epan, for that. Was a fantastic presentation, and I'm sure that would have clarified a lot of doubts for the participants. It was so lucid that you managed to, bring about all the features of this the professional indemnity scheme. And as you rightly said, accident can happen to anyone, anywhere, any place. So it is always better to be safe than sorry. And now I would like to introduce the panelists for this discussion. Dr. George Paul does not require any introduction, but he says General Secretary said he's the past secretary, he's the past president of our association, and he's a very senior oral maxillofacial surgeon in the country, and he also holds a degree in law along with OMFS. So welcome, sir, to the program. Thank you. And the other panelists include another senior maxillofacial surgeon, Dr. Ramakrishna Chennai, who has been the executive committee member of our association. He currently holds the position of the Vice Dean and Head Department of Oral Maxillofacial Surgery at BSPM Dental College, Nagpur. Welcome to the program, Dr. Chennai. And the other panelist is Dr. Mukul Upadhyay. He is again has been an AMSI executive committee member. He has been a joint secretary of our association, and currently holds the position of professor and dean of faculty at Dr. D.Y. Patil Dental College, Mumbai. Welcome, Dr. Mukul.
Thank you, Jameson.
Yeah. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And before I start, there is a question in the chat box which says, what is the difference between AMSI indemnity and other medical indemnity? Even we want to take that question, difference between AMSI indemnity and other indemnity.
See, there is a lot of difference. There's a lot of difference as far as the regular indemnities will be. When we answer questions one after the other, you'll come to know what are the added features in AMSI indemnity insurance. See, I would say to highlight a few, it would be it's the cheapest. I would say when you compare of such a indemnity insurance when compared to any other companies. The second part, the services offered, the range and the extent of service offered is nothing which has been covered by any other insurance companies. Thirdly, I would say the cosmetic cover and many other aspects. Then the legal support. It's not just about the indemnity cover alone. The legal services, they have a pan-India coverage where they'll provide all the legal support across. And it's not just about consumer cases alone. Now, this particular the agreement what we have with Dockland actually covers you from even criminal offences pertaining to this particular professional negligence, anything which happens. And many more. If you have a litigation, if you have a case or a legal notice from the biomedical waste, if it's something coming from the pollution control board, if you have something from the council, if you have a defamation case against you, suppose any patient writes against you, in a social media or something of that sort, if you inform this document services, they will do the necessary needful if it falls into the so-called ambit of defamation. And the list goes long. Okay, and the package also is very competitive. It's the cheapest, I would say. And of course, an association like AOMSI, being the facilitator for its own members. What more do you want?
Yeah, actually, can I talk?
Yes, Mukul. Yeah.
I think the biggest advantage, even correct me if I'm wrong, is that to have a group insurance vis-a-vis having an individual indemnity insurance, that group insurance itself makes a big difference. Each of us can have an individual insurance with any company, but when you go as a group, there is far more weightage in the indemnity insurance as compared to an individual. I'm sure George will also like to add in somewhat here.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just want to add, Dr. Mukul, for the biggest advantage, if anybody is looking for, is this is specifically tailor-made for oral maxillofacial surgery. No other insurance till now. There might be, we would have, there are some, for example, Mukul, even myself, I am also part of the group insurance that is by the Association of Medical Consultants. And in our scheme, it still comes as a oral and maxillofacial surgery, but nothing like, because it is tailor-made to our association. And we have made them to include every procedure in our syllabus without mentioning individually. And the most advantages is like, it is like, we separated it from cosmetic and non-cosmetic. So people who are, initial stages, who doesn't have much of a cosmetic work, can take a lesser amount. And it's been, those who does, because most importantly, Eapen might, clarify me, in the sense, most of the procedure, cosmetic indemnity insurance normally doesn't cover cosmetic. If moment the cosmetic word comes, the rate substantially goes high. So it is this particular insurance, the kind of, for example, for 1 crore cosmetic, including everything, is less than 12,500, is something like a steal. Now, if you want to take a individual on your own, this would cost you anywhere between 35 to 40,000. And even if you going through the association, some of the other, like AMC, even I would be paying much more than what we are getting it right now. The reason mainly is one is, Dockland is also would want to associate it with the Proud Association, because they know we have around large number of, they're looking for a long-term relationship to having, so that many members would join in the later. So that's the reason they have given it on a very, very economical rate. And thanks to Eapen, he also was able to give within that also, they've given some initial offer kind of a thing. Yeah. Over to you.
Eapen, I just have like whatever those ratios you talked about, 1:1, 1:3.
Dr. Raboshi, let me just add on to one point what we just discussed about the biggest security and the safety of this. Now, it's just human psychology. Just remember, now if you are a patient, and you want to make some money by hook or crook, and you have a doctor whom you have undergone a treatment, and you have an advocate who's actually instigating you and like compelling you or sort of tempting you to this, you will definitely try for that, because it's very easy to harass a person as an individual, and that person can get scared because people are not used to these litigations. An individual person who has taken an indemnity and who has to deal with all litigations by himself will be always a vulnerable person to the stress and the agony by the opposing person. But imagine if it's a part of Aomsi-Pi, the reply to the legal document, the legal notice, will be going from the association or sort of from the document services. That means that advocate on the other side will realize that we have got a huge backup. So they'll think twice before acting us, because they know we won't be having much stress like an individual who's actually doing it independently. That's all.
What I wanted to say, Eapen, is that those ratios which you talked about, 1:1 and 1:4. I mean, we used to earlier, buy these indemnity policies just like that. You buy one and you don't even bother to read it. Actually, you just, the next time it comes for renewal, you go and do it. Now, there's one question which I can see over here is that, is it possible that we have multiple indemnity policies? I think the audience wants to know if it is, from different companies, then would that come into effect? Maybe if there are more than one claim or whatever.
See, you can have any number of indemnity insurances for any company. Nobody is stopping you from that. And in case you have a claim from any incident, based on the claim amount, you can choose any one company actually to go ahead. But as per the law, all indemnity insurance companies has to be intimated when and where an incident of legal notice you get. Means how many companies you have to inform the legal notice to the companies. And it's your choice to decide to go ahead with which particular indemnity insurance based on the sum insured. Suppose you have the complaint amount is a compensation amount is 10 or 15 lakhs, and you already have one insurance with 20 lakhs. That is well within the confines of that particular indemnity insurance, isn't it? So in that case, you need not mix up with the insurance company. Suppose if the claim is 30 lakhs and you have an insurance company with 20 lakhs, another one with 20 lakhs, you can club up. So in that situation, how the procedure is, you should be intimating the legal notice to both the companies. Number one, you should take up the legal battle with the company who's providing you legal support. If both are giving, fine, but take one company for the legal support. They will fight the case And if it wins against you, I mean, if you win, no problem. But if it comes against you, and if the amount is exceeding one company's claim, that means 30 lakhs. You have only 20 each in two different companies, and the claim is 30 lakhs. The moment your verdict is against you, the one of the company, you'll get the 20 lakhs, and the copy of the judgment has to be legally notified and served to the other company. They will pay the remaining amount of the money. That's how you deal with multiple indemnity insurances if you have. It's always advisable to have a single one with real good coverage for in future at least. Yeah. So GP sir was telling something.
Yeah, I'm going to act as the devil's advocate, okay? But before I do so, let me tell you that I have already, as Epan knows, taken this indemnity of the AMSI. I've taken it for 50 lakhs because I'm at the end of my career and I plan to retire in a year or two. So I would very strongly advise all of you to definitely take an indemnity, and taking the AMSI indemnity would definitely have an edge over taking an indemnity by yourself or even in another group for various reasons that has already been explained by Epan Thomas very lucidly.
If you have to go one by one question on this particular thing, I think you have made it very clear that how this AMSI indemnity insurance is different compared to others. The next question I would want to say, now people might ask you credibility of Docklands. Now, is it let me go to the already existing questions. I think we'll go one by one. It's all short answers. So instead of coming back and forth in the chat box, Epan, now you've gone through we have gone through the credibility of Docklands. Very briefly, no larger this particular thing. According to you, in 3-4 sentences, how do you rate their credibility?
Yeah, so credibility part, this is we had actually filtered this Docklands from a list of 8 companies, okay, which we have scrutinized on various aspects. And that's how finally the committee have come to the conclusion of getting an agreement with the Docklands. It's a company which is actually dealing with insurances pertaining to only medical legal. They have only medical legal insurances. They don't sell any other insurances, number one. So they're extremely focused into this. They've been in the field for more than 28 years. So they are into this particular. The CEO is also a doctor. So basically that's a few part of that. Then there are 2 things. They are not insurance brokers. They are corporate agents who are authorized by the IRDA, the Indian Regulatory Development of the Insurance Regulatory Development of India, as authorized, and they have a certificate for that also. And then they are also having the MCA validity for the corporate to market selling these things. They have I told you, a pan-India panel of advocates. They have a claim, a winning ratio of 98% as per the records what they give. They also have provided us documents as to be having affiliated with various IMA branches, IDA branches across the country. And these are the things when compared to the 6 or 7 or 8 countries, 8 brands or 8 companies, we found them to be superior in all aspects. And in terms of providing the support, and another one thing, they have also assured us a 3-year fixed period. That means every insurance company, after every year, usually they increase the premium what they have to pay. And after negotiation, this documents company has given us a same rate for the 3 years period. So anybody who's joining in the inaugural offer, for the next 3 years, at the time of renewal, after 1 year, they have to pay the same amount only. Whereas other insurances, at the time of renewal time, you have to pay the amount what is actually as per stipulated or been incremented right for. But only for those members who have joined now, existing members only will be getting the privilege of same rate for 3 years. But anybody who joins after this inaugural offer or after that 1 year period will have to be paying the scheme will be there, but they have to pay the higher fees. So anybody who's an ongoing customer in this particular contract period will actually fall in the 3-year lock-in. No, lock-in in the sense same amount only they have to pay.
Okay.
Epan, but can I ask a question Please. Which many people have asked me? And Manju, you have been a part of AMC insurance, group insurance. And we have a lot of our members who are a part of AMC group insurance. And their group insurance, normally they take it every March. So most of us have just about paid for the yearly insurance, which expires on 23 in March 23. So how can these people be helped if they want to jump onto AMSI bandwagon, or they should wait for a year, or how to go about doing this? Can you advise on that?
Mukul, Can I answer
Yeah.
that question? Okay.
Yeah, please,
Now,
please.
if in AMC, if you feel your coverage is good and it covers everything, and you just renewed it, it doesn't make any sense to change over kind of a thing. Only thing you will be losing after when you join the next year is that percentage of that inaugural offer. Only you're the one you're losing, because as Epan said, it's not going to change next day. This particular pricing is locked for next 3 years. So next 3 years, maybe, if you're talking about a 1 crore cosmetic, you would be paying 12,500, and you would be, some people already paid now, they already got the discount also. That money will come back to their account. You would be paying around 800 or 1,000 rupees more. That's it. If you're not joining this particular thing, this same thing can happen if you want to join after April 7th also, you would be paying the same amount. So if you feel your coverage is good, whatever, and if you're happy with the AMC, even I was taking AMC till now. So, but I had not renewed, so I've joined Docklands. So you could wait for the next year. There is no hurry to jump in.
And if that period is quite short period, if that if somebody was joined and if it's got another 4 or 5 months only to expire for the existing contract, that also we have negotiated with Docklands. You can actually book your payment. I mean, you pay the whatever scheme ka payment now in the inaugural offer, okay, and your payment will be registered by Docklands. And you just communicate with the Docklands that your existing policy is expiring in the month of November, and you want this inaugural offer to be valid from November so and so date. So they'll hold this inaugural offer for you, and you'll get your new policy with the starting of the present policy's expiry date. That's possible, or that also we have negotiated and incorporated to accommodate the present people who's having another 4 or 5 months more left in the existing policy.
No, but if this particular offer by Docklands is a much better offer than what we are having in, the one which we have right now, wouldn't it be better that it comes into effect directly? And that is what some people are also asking, Manju, that if I pay today, when would it come into effect?
Tomorrow. Moment they take up your, they maybe whatever one day to process. And once they agree and make a call and then confirm everything, and within 24 hours it will be covered.
But then it is also like having 2 covers, right? In case if you
now there is a go on, James.
No, in case if you don't want the existing policy to expire and then for this to take effect, you can have 2 rather. That is possible, right?
It's possible.
The moment
as long as Manju, please.
Yeah, because we are paying only 1/3 of the usual.
Let me settle it for once. Now, if you feel that the insurance what you've taken is less amount and doesn't have any coverage and kind of a thing, it makes more sense to join immediately, and with the coverage you'll start immediately. It's only for those people who are also paying maybe a big amount for a bigger coverage, but it's starting from July or August. Why should they lose that 4 months kind of a thing? It's just like a vehicle insurance. So you can write to them personally and then say that I'm paying the money now, I'm taking the inaugural offer now. Kindly make my policy from July itself. So what will happen is you'll be paying every July. Now, if we pay now, we'll be paying by renewing it from every March itself. Somebody joins at July, but they can pay now and take that offer. But if it is, as Mukul said, who's just become now, doesn't make sense to wait and that kind of a thing. Yeah. So shall we move on? Because now
so
next one more important question, Epan, is like people say they have the national insurance and those companies when they say here the Dockland word, they say, okay, this is a corporate. Now, what is a guarantee? So tomorrow, many said, oh, you are a president for this year, your term gets over. Now, after you are this one, what will happen? Kind of a thing. So credibility, or now how do you ensure that these people will not shut the door?
So there are basically 4 public sector units which is offering this type of indemnity insurances: the National Insurance, United India Insurance, New India Insurance, and Oriental Insurances. Now, the Docklands is having a long-term relationship with Oriental Insurance, and I told you earlier they've been into only this particular thing in more than 28 years of connections, and still going on strong. A company with so much of credibility with existing clients. And also shown me a letter recently where some other company's contract has been transferred to the Docklands. One of the recent ones. So the rates and the what do you call? There's a cosmetic cover which has been offered by Oriental Insurance exclusively for Docklands. I've seen the certificate of that too, because all the insurances won't cover cosmetic insurance, cosmetic cover. Even if you just take the policy wordings of the Oriental Insurance or any insurance, cosmetic procedures are usually not covered. Okay, so but I have seen the document by the Oriental Insurance Company addressed to Docklands exclusively, considering their true value as a customer and a business person for a long-term relationship. They have written specifically cosmetic surgical procedures is included in the insurances service through Docklands. Okay, considering on the other aspect, which is actually an exclusion in the normal policy or person. And another one thing I would like to tell you is the same Oriental Insurance. If you want, I'll serve you all those. Online purchasing option is still. You go to the Oriental website directly, the link, click on that, or choose your option as dentist, and then click for the cover. 1 crore cover will actually give you a premium of 29,000 rupees. If you want to take 2 crore cover, the premium what you have to pay is 48,500 rupees. No legal support, no legal backup, no cosmetic coverage. The same Oriental, when it's come through the Docklands, as having an agreement with them, is providing all these things with 1/4 the actual cost. See, all these are verified. That's what I'm just telling you.
Okay, now the bottom line is, though name is Dockland, the tie-up is with the Oriental. In fact, the Dockland has also, along with they also give Oriental as well as ICICI Prudential, correct? ICICI.
Yeah, and the private in the public sector,
they have a private
sector they give, but the problem with private sector is basically they have been into the market not so long, and to capture the customers, they offer very low rates, but they have so many hidden what do you call payments here and there, and very like deductibility, then percentage of the out of court settlement, then regarding compensatory mandatory deposit, so many other loopholes for them which can actually create a trouble later. That's why we opted for public sector company.
Yeah. So basically, though it's Dockland, it's Oriental, and it is not even ICICI. So our tie-up with the Oriental only, Dockland is only the service providers. So even if anything happens, Dockland, we have been covered because it is under IRDA, and they have a certification.
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah.
And Dockland is having an agreement with Aomsi-Pi with all these things mentioned and stipulated, in which the matters pertaining to legal matters from dental council is also specific. That's why I said one of the points which I want to talk to GV sir was the points what he mentioned was specifically mentioned in the agreement with Aomsi and Docklands, which includes criminal cover, which includes fighting defamation cases, which includes cover in any legal notice from councils. Everything has been included in that, sir. We'll come to the discussion later. That's been actually put up in the agreement.
Okay. One more very important pertinent question is when the most biggest doubt in any of whenever they fill up this particular thing, they mention that kindly mention the name of the hospital and this one. So everybody has that particular doubt that I go to so many clinics, I go to different hospitals, I go to visiting in a different city. Am I covered? Yeah, that's one question. And second question is, I have a clinic where various consultants are coming. Is my clinic covered? So I think I would want you to answer both. This is a very important question. And so kindly, all I need is a very short answers for this particular thing.
Two things. One about during the registration form where they ask you to fill up all the areas of your visit. You don't have to fill up all that because that's a statutory requirement as part of any registration form from the insurance companies. You just mentioned 1 or 2 clinics or your area of specialty. That is all. Because just because you have not mentioned a clinic or a hospital where you're going, and if some unfortunate events happen in that particular clinic, it doesn't mean that you won't be covered. Your insurance indemnity coverage is personal with Oriental Insurance on a pan-India coverage, irrespective of the hospital where you go, as long as you are within the confines of jurisdiction of India, irrespective of the place you go, irrespective of the state, irrespective of jurisdiction, irrespective of the clinic or the hospital, you are covered for the sum assured what you have taken the insurance for. And regarding the clinic, the clinic I've told you, like this is a purely personal indemnity insurance, a clinic which is having many consultants, and if some sort of a litigation arise by the negligent act of one of the consultant, and if the complaint is against the consultant and you as the owner of the clinic, you will be covered, but the consultant's claim has to be borne by the consultant, because it is not a insurance indemnity for a establishment. It is a personal indemnity insurance. So you will be holding, or you will be having a vicarious responsibility, because you are not primary responsible for the act, but you also part of the complaint. So basically the respondent, you and the so-called consultant, whoever is having conducted or done the act of negligence, will have to pay more, and he or she, if it's not covered, it's not your problem, but you will be covered, and you have to pay the vicarious responsibility within the ranges of the sum assured what you take. So purely clinic total coverage for establishment.
Even can I ask a small question here?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a maxillofacial surgeon. I have a clinic, and I have an endodontist coming to do endodontic work in my clinic. Now he does something wrong, and there is a complaint against him. Would I, as an individual maxillofacial surgeon, if my clinic is named, or if I'm named amongst other people, have liability covered as well?
If that person, particular person,
I'm not talking about maxillofacial surgery.
I know. And
endodontist, Aomsi-Pi is interfering in this. So yeah, I'm asking you a question. If an endodontist comes to my clinic to do endodontic work and does some mistake, as a maxillofacial surgeon through the Aomsi-Pi, if I am named as a respondent, will I get a cover?
Two things, sir. So if you are the licensed owner of that particular clinic, and if that person, the complainant, keeps you as one of the respondent, you do have a responsibility as a vicarious responsibility. And the primary act being conducted by a person, a consultant, endodontist, he or she will be having the primary. So
I understand that. I understand that the clinic has a vicarious responsibility, or hospital has a vicarious responsibility. I understand that very clearly. What I'm asking, as a maxillofacial surgeon, if I have taken a non-cosmetic procedure indemnity, will I be covered if I'm named as a respondent for an endodontic procedure or a prosthodontic procedure that's been done?
Yes, sir. That is why in the list of treatments which is covered in the brochure what is circulated, we have specifically stated that all treatments which is being taught to you as per the DCI or the council course curriculum was part of BDS or MDS OMFs will be covered. That includes all dental treatments, because many of us OMFs would be doing general practice. So we had specifically thought about that, and it includes general practice. This could be answered somebody else also. It includes all dental. No, I'm just telling, and I'm just agreeing for others' benefits. So it includes the coverage, includes all dental practical related works, whether you are OMFS surgeon, whatever it is, all dental procedures are covered, including implants, or even if you do a denture, anything for that matter, definitely is covered. And all DCI prescribed syllabus or course curriculum is covered.
So it's really technically a dental thing rather than a maxillofacial one, isn't it?
No, sir. No. Maxillofacial has been included always. And even if your coverage, even the maxillofacial as well as dental. For example,
that confuses me, because
including cancer surgery.
I have a clinic. I'm a maxillofacial surgeon. I call in a prosthodontist to do a rehabilitation for my, let's say, cancer case or a mucor case, and he does something which is wrong. Will I be held liable as well as a maxillofacial surgeon?
If you are actually portrayed as a respondent in the complaint, you are actually liable as the licensed owner of the clinic where is considered the place of incident. That's also vicarious responsibility.
Let's say I'm not the license holder. The license holder is another third party. I'm a maxillofacial surgeon in the clinic, and there is a prosthodontist there. And if he's doing the reconstruction after I have done a surgery, and whenever I don't know whether you've got a lawyer's notice. When you get a lawyer's notice, you will see that they will name everybody that is possible. In which case, will they take my case?
No. You won't. Yeah, because see, the complainant actually can keep anybody's name as the respondent, but it's for us to defend the case. And if you are not actually directly connected to that, you won't be having any sort of evidence or any episode of negligence being conducted being a maxillofacial surgeon. So directly you won't. Yeah, that's good. Yep, sir.
But I will be represented. Because
definitely, you have to be represented because you have been named as a respondent. So that's what the cover is actually important as far as the legal service.
Can I come in here? Can I come in, Manju?
Yeah, please.
Question about procedures being done in colleges, and if I'm not wrong, if from what I've heard, I'm not very sure about it. Are residents responsible for their cases, or is it the unit head or the professor under whom the student is? Because I work in both places, primarily.
Again,
vicarious
liability.
Can I answer the question
Yeah, GP sir.
Yeah, please, sir, please.
Shanoy, this vicarious responsibility is a very tricky thing. Okay. Now, if you're in an institution or a corporate hospital and things like that, or let's say dental institution. Now, technically, the institution has a vicarious responsibility, and you have a specific responsibility if you are qualified to do a particular kind of work. Now, if you're not qualified to do that particular kind of work, for example, a resident or even a PG who's training to do a work, if he does a mistake, then you will be held responsible. But on the other hand, if it's an assistant professor who is qualified and who can take a decision on his own, this is actually splitting hairs. It's a very good question that you asked, because a lot of people can't give you a straight answer to that. Normally we consider that the principal or the dean or the head of the department would have the responsibility, but it's not just that. It is a qualified person working under you. If he takes his own decision and does a procedure, breaks a mandible in the process of doing an impaction, he will be held responsible, as well as the institution will be held responsible. So you will come as part of the vicarious responsibility of the institution. You understand? Not as an individual. Am I clear? I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, I got it.
The basic thing is, Dr. Ramakrishna, like GP sir said, now you will be proved, negligent only if you don't possess the skill to do a particular task. Any person who is still completing the internship, okay, cannot be considered as a qualified person to single. So the responsibility will lie more on that. So even a PG for that matter. So definitely you can't escape from vicarious responsibility, but any person who has completed post-graduation with the qualification or certification from the university is a person who's actually skilled enough. And if that person commits a negligence, the vicarious responsibility will be coming to the superior in terms of the thing, and the primary responsibility will be going.
Superior, the whole institute.
Yes,
including the principal and dean and everybody else.
True.
Management.
Yeah, moving on. There's a very tricky question. Somebody asked that is the hair transplant has been covered?
I'll answer that.
Yeah, please.
See, now the statement which I told you earlier, if the DCA course of curriculum or the university's course of curriculum permits or entitles you to do a hair transplant or any procedure for that matter, if you have a certification or if you have notification which has been official, can be shown to the legislature as a proof, you can do it and it will be covered.
Manju, can I just make a small point here, because I may not have an opportunity to speak to 126 people otherwise.
I know.
So, see, this hair transplant issue that's been coming up from time to time. The problem is several of our members of the AOMSI, as the president, you probably should take note of this, and Girish as secretary, Girish, if you ask me. If what happens is people make separate queries to the dental council asking, can maxillofacial surgeons do a hair transplant? Now, that's a very stupid question, because you are asking an opinion. The RTA is not meant to give the opinions. RTA is supposed to give you documents or proof that something can be done. So the question that needs to be asked is not whether we can do hair transplant. The question that needs to be asked is hair transplant directly or indirectly part of the curriculum of the maxillofacial surgery? If so, kindly give us a certified copy of the curriculum. And if it says that you can take a graft from the head or the leg or wherever it is, then the hair is just appendage of that skin, right?
Moving on. Other Jimson?
Yeah. Actually, I think we have answered many questions. The next question is whether it's an annual premium or one time.
Manju?
It's annual premium. One time. Okay.
Now, is there any no-claim bonus?
It's a one-time payment for everyone. One of the Dr. Joshi asked, no, because it said it's locked in for 3 years. He said, how much more? What do you know, sometimes he's scared that after 3 years, are they going to increase substantially your question? So what's your answer?
So the answer is to that is, now it's always your liberty to choose which company and whichever insurance. If you feel after 3 years ke baad, if you feel this particular contract or the company is not suiting for you, then definitely the AMSI who has taken this initiative is more concerned than you, will make sure that the rates are actually palatable and feasible to all our members, because we stand for our members, absolutely.
I just saw Dr. Manikantan's question is that, like, I have a coverage for 1 crore, and now one patient sues me for 1 crore. Now, what should I do for the rest of the year? How should I take it?
I think that was answered. 1:1, 1:2.
Yeah.
No. His question is like, 1 crore is already been taken up. For the rest of the year, how should I manage? Like, if there is more litigation.
Money take off 3 crores next year.
Okay, Dr. Manikantan. Now, Manikantan, I just want to clarify a few things. Now, see, all this litigation, asking money, and awarding money is a long process. So it's not that now somebody asks this year and next month they will ask you 1 crore. The case will happen. These are going to go, even though we say these are consumer court supposed to be fast track court, but still, Dr. George Paul will tell you it's going to take years together. Because, and if anything goes wrong, suppose if you don't get a judgment in the district, we can always appeal for the next. So not necessarily that year is been gone, kind of a thing. So it's you always.
Can I ask a question related to that? Now, suppose you have lost in the district forum.
Yes.
And you have to pay some 10 lakhs. Can you instruct Dockland to say, okay, pay the 10 lakhs. It doesn't matter. I do not want to go to the state forum or the national forum.
Definitely, sir, because it's because after all the agreement. Because after all, the agreement is between us and the insurance company, and through Dockland is a facilitator. We are the ultimate people who's actually deciding. If we actually,
even why I ask you this question is, suppose the Dockland feels that you have not done anything wrong, and they can decrease the 10 lakh liability to maybe no liability, and they want to go to the state forum. Do you have a say in saying don't go?
We do have a say, and finally our word is the final verdict. And moreover, more than Dockland, the insurance company will be more bothered, because the payout is actually from the insurance company, not from Dockland, isn't it?
No, but they may have a different opinion. They may say that we probably will.
Now, for example,
but fine, word is ours, sir. It's our word, finally.
For that matter, in the district court only, now let's say somebody is suing for just, for argument's sake, somebody sues for 60 lakhs. Okay. And you just can't, if they feel that the Dockland or the lawyers of those people feel that, this is an absurd and judgment and needs to be taken in the high court, where they, insurance also is going to save money.
Absolutely.
Why do you expect them to pay 60 lakhs?
Yeah, because it's basically a on mutual consent they can go.
No, Epan, I have also spoken to Docklands, and when they came to the clinic, when we were negotiating, because at the end of the day, I'm signing in on behalf of the association. I asked exactly the same question which George said. They said, no way. They are going to fight it tooth and nail, because they are the guys who are going to pay it. And which insurance company is going to just pay like that? So they're going to have a whole panel of lawyers, and they will fight it to the full thing, up to the third level. So I think they are going to.
So Girish, what you're saying is, you don't have a say after you hand over the papers to them.
Yes, because they will put their lawyers and they are going to negotiate for us. So
there is a possibility.
I think even you need to get clarification, because I think what Girish saying seems.
Yeah, they will fight it out, is what they said.
So what do we have to lose in that, sir? If they fight it out?
No, nothing at all. Because they are going to pay at the end of the day, so they don't want to pay it. Any insurance company will do their level best to save money.
True.
They don't want to, even though you may say, I don't want to fight, but they will fight it out.
No, sir, it makes it, Dr. Girish, and so it makes a very valid point, in the sense, now, for example, say, if the payment is so easier, I will only, instigate one of my patients to sue this one for,
Absolutely.
Point, sir.
And we share the profit.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
in NHS, if you get a wisdom tooth, the easiest way to make, 5,000 or 10,000 pounds is basically go and sue your doctor. So, it's out of court settlement, and the biggest payout for NHS is actually a wisdom tooth extraction. So you need to be extremely careful, and luckily these guys will protect us.
No, if the dockland or the advocates they feel that they have a case to present, they will persuade. Obviously, they will persuade. But if they feel that they have a hopeless case to this one, though they even do the out of court settlement, and they that they will take all the signatories necessary. So it's very valid.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Yeah.
And I guess orthodontic or cleft lip surgery, does it fall under cosmetic or non-cosmetic?
Already answered, because anything which enhances the cosmetics can actually be argued as a cosmetic procedure, and we can also defend telling that these are functional corrections or developmental corrections for an abnormal looking patient or a person to look normal in the society. So both ways it can be argued. It all depends upon the judge who's sitting there and what they infer and what is their final verdict. So it's always better to be taking a cosmetic cover if you are doing such procedures, to be on the safer side.
Actually, it's not the judge who decides. It is Dockland which has to decide. Now, you tell Dockland, I would like to argue this case as not being a cosmetic procedure, but something that improves functional efficiency or structural balance or something like that. Or in the case of cleft, if you can say that it is a congenital deformity which needs to be corrected, just like a club foot or anything like that. I think Dockland has to take a call on that. Judge is not going to take a call. It's how well Dockland and its lawyers are going to present the case. And that is why I said we should always have a legal group which will engage with the lawyers of Dockland. Otherwise, they may not know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, one point I want to make in that particular thing, sir. Sir, in fact, both arguments are right. Now, difference between, for example, 1 crore cosmetic and non-cosmetic. The cosmetic cost is around 12,500 or something, and the non-cosmetic is around 7,500. Correct? Okay, so difference is around 5,000, sir. Now somebody does a orthognathic surgery by paying somebody is opting for 1 crore and paying 7,500 and opting for non-cosmetic, can still argue that he operated an orthognathic surgery or a cleft lip thing and for a functional kind of, and can still win. Okay, because it's your job to prove it. But it's better, as Deepan said, tomorrow, why should you leave it now? Tomorrow somebody says that, okay, this is only for a cosmetic, orthognathic is mentioned cosmetic. To be on a safer side, you pay that, additional 5,000 more and take it under cosmetic. Your coverage is you're safe.
So these points I've already talked to the Dockland services.
I can tell you for the certainty, because the question was asked, that cleft lip and palate will never come under cosmetic. It's a congenital deformity. Orthognathic surgery, you can,
Can be both ways. It can be functional also, but it can be, some procedures can be cosmetic.
But it all depends on what you write in your case sheet. A patient comes to you with a complaint of protruding teeth, it becomes cosmetic. A patient comes to you with a difficulty in eating, then it becomes a functional problem.
So these points were actually talked in depth with the Dockland services, and we had actually told about these functional problems, things like that. They don't have a problem, sir. But what we are talking about is just in case. So that's what I'm telling you. So why instead of taking a chance, we'll definitely fight it, telling that's a functional problem, definitely. But on the other side, it can happen this way, that way also. That's why I said just for being safe. That's all.
Moving on. Yeah.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Jim, sorry to interrupt you. This was posted to me directly, actually. So is there a time period when the patient can file a case against the consultant after the procedure is done? Is there a time period,
No. Earlier there used to be, but then in the consumer court, there is no particular time, because suppose you have done an orthognathic surgical procedure, you can have a complication or a relapse happening years later. Understood? So that way, patient actually can file it. As of now, but regarding appealing from a lower court to higher court, there are restrictions in the number of days, from 30 to 45 days.
I'll answer that question for you very clearly.
Yes, sir.
There is a 2-year statute of limitations. A 2-year statute of limitations for any case prima facie that you want to make a complaint. Now, if you have done an extraction and there is a fracture of the mandible, then your statute of limitations is only 2 years. Okay. On the other hand, if it is an ongoing, that's what Ethan is trying to tell you. If it's an ongoing situation, like for example, you have a neurosensory deficit after doing an orthognathic surgery. So after 2 years, you tell them it will become all right in 1.5 years. After 1.5 years, it doesn't become all right. So he sues you after 3 years. then it is an ongoing problem. So it can be extended to 3 years. But that has to be decided by the judge. It's called laches, which means the reason for delay. The reason for delay has to be explained. Otherwise, there is a statute of limitations on all tort cases of 2 years.
Yeah. Next query, please, Jimson.
Yeah. That's another question. What's the minimum cover recommended for overall maxillary surgeons?
25 lakhs.
Like Manju, you can consider different things. Like one is about your stream of practice. The second one is, like I told you, the recent enhancement of the compensation awarding rate of the lower court, 1 crore. See, if you want to be safe, at least I would say if you're doing any cosmetic procedures, a 1 CR cover, considering the possibilities. There's nothing like we can always fight and defend and win the case also, but on the other side, we don't want to take a chance. That's where.
See, what they ask is not what you get.
Exactly. Yeah.
You understand? So they may ask, everybody asks for 1 crore, 2 crores. Recently, I was a meningomyelocele case. A radiologist has been sued, a radiology group has been sued for 7 crores in Salem. 7 crores in Salem. Okay. Now, it's very difficult to say whether if they have only 1 crore, whether it is adequate or not. But they are never going to get 7 crores. Finally, the award will only be 20 lakhs or 15 lakhs or 10 lakhs, whatever it is, even if they are found to be wrong. So you don't have to expect just because the pecuniary jurisdiction is 1 crore, therefore we have to take 1 crore.
There is a reason now. The question is now, for example, what is now AMSI with the Dockland? Our minimum pricing is non-cosmetic starts from 25 lakhs. The reason is because of the district level, it is increased. So we didn't go up for a 5 lakh, 10 lakh, and 15 lakhs kind of. It's because the non-cosmetic in Dockland here, it's costing around how much? Even around 3,800.
I think it's very, very reasonable. I think it's something that you should take. It's very reasonable. Very, very
and many people, one more thing, sir, many of the, the new just pass out and what they say is like, I just do only impaction and kind of a thing. They think most of the people, they have a wrong notion saying that, I don't charge so much, so I don't need that much kind of a thing. That's a very wrong notion. What they don't realize is that, like, they would have charged only some, 3,000, 4,000 for impaction. But what the patient can claim is they don't have any control over that. It depends upon so many factors. Depends upon the, what is the patient, what is his profession, how is it this thing, it's his. He is supposed to be suing. It is not totally. It absolutely nothing to do with the charges. What has been your charges for the patient. Even if you charge 4,000 and you'd have given 40% or 50% to the local dentist and you'd have got only 2,000, you can be sued for much more money. So you need to be more safe for that.
What happens in a camp where you're doing things for free?
See, one thing is now regarding free treatment, as per the decision of this consumer court, if you have a system or an establishment or a clinic where all treatment always are done free, then you don't fall in the ambit of service and you are not liable in the court of law as far as consumer protection. But you are actually practicing by paying, taking charges from somebody. But then if some person due to some financial reason you have given some sort of a charity, you can't actually evade yourself from being under the ambit. So basically, if all the treatments all the time are done free, you don't fall in the category of service and you are not liable for any consumer cases. But if it's just for some sort of a charity or some time fund or some past, then you are liable.
I think we have covered almost all the questions. Is there any IT rebate for this professional indemnity insurance?
There is no IT rebate, but you can claim under the expenses and get a deduction for whatever amount you have taken. But like any other, even motor vehicle accidents, your what do you call the cover insurance coverage for your vehicle. Even your insurance coverage for the vehicle is not exempted from in that particular rebate. And, so you can include in the expenditures, no reduction.
But you will not have a tax rebate. And is there any deductible for a claim?
No, Samson, you have a deduction. All insurances are deductible from your this thing as expenses for your clinic.
I have an answer for that, sir. Expense. Sir, that is where again Dockland's insurance.
It's not a deduction; it's an expense. You can show
expense.
it as expense. Yeah, it's not shown as
So what Jameson asked was about deductibility, sir. That's a term what they use. See, for every claim, for every, somebody's audio is making this, yeah. For every claim, remember, you take up any insurance company, for every claim, there is a percentage amount, it's about 0.025 or 0.25% of the claim amount, up to a maximum of, or a minimum of 12,500 is the deductible. I mean that if you have taken 1 crore cover and if there's a claim against you and you've been awarded for 1 crore, you won't get the full 1 crore. They'll deduct the 0.25% of that and the remaining only they'll give. That means that 0.25% you have to put from your pocket. But in this particular insurance, what we have a tie-up with the Docklands, Dockland will take up the responsibility and it's 100% no deductibility in this Aomsi-Pi insurance.
Yeah, somebody has asked a question, Jimson, as mentioned about that, the camp cases, that even if one person loses an eye during a camp, he can sue. It is true. The point that is made is true, but there he has to go to the civil court. See, there's a big difference that people have to understand here. The Consumer Protection Act is a business contract violation. A civil court, anybody can go, whether you're doing it free or otherwise. If you kill somebody or if you cause damage to somebody, they can go to civil court and file. So even if in a camp, if someone loses an eye, you don't go to the consumer court because there is no transaction. There's no consumer transaction. There's no contract between the patient and the doctor. So, but they can go to civil court. They can go to criminal court. They can go to statutory courts. They can go to any of the schools.
Now, there is also sometimes a wrong notion that, most of the time when the complication happens, the surgeon either waives off the charges and think that, so all those things are actually doesn't come. So it's a very, very, the free is when everything, as Ipan mentioned, or Joshua mentioned, when every treatment in that particular hospital is free. And though even, in a hospital where you have some free ward, super specialty ward and things like that, in that also, you are liable to some extent. Yeah,
Manju, let me make this clear. All that Ipan was talking about was the consumer court.
Correct.
Okay? Now, even in a government hospital,
civil court or
if you do any mistake, you are still liable under statutory laws and you are liable under civil law and even under criminal law. So that doesn't take away the patient's.
I can see a question asked. A condition mark is present over 100% cosmetic cover. What is that for? Now it does means only if you have taken in the cosmetic cover category. That's all it's meant. All procedures covered is only if you have taken cosmetic cover category. That's all I just meant in that. No other exclusions in that star or the conditions apply. Because that is there in the registration form and even in the other form of the circulated, the star is there. The star means just if you have taken the cosmetic cover category, anything and everything is covered as per DCA curriculum.
Ipan, now question is, can I keep, if I'm comfortable with the advocate of my choice, can I keep that, or is it mandatory that I should be from Dockland?
It depends. Like if the advocate's fees are actually practically within the limits of the panel's rate, what the Docklands is providing, well, definitely it can be taken. That's why I'm telling you, we can have a very costly advocate, because ultimately it actually falls in the legal expenses, because the amount what we have paid and the service charges what we are providing. For example, if you have for those who have got the policy, we will definitely see, because the package rate what we have mentioned in that is different from the amount what is prescribed or listed on the policy. Because the policy payment, for example, who have taken 1 crore cover, the policy payment on the document, you will find only the payment as say 5,000 or 6,000, because that is an agreement with the insurance company and Dockland for which they are giving that cover for that person. The remaining part is the service charges for the Docklands to take up that cover of the cosmetic category, because naturally cosmetic cover requires and invites more trouble rather in terms of litigation. So they are more likely to be having more cases when compared to a non-cosmetic category. So service charges is also accordingly, but there is not even a single paisa extra than the package rates what has been totally put up by the Aomsi-Pi.
Okay.
There is another question. Will does interest also be covered?
What interest?
Interest? What interest?
I guess they are meaning about after
what they mean is that sometimes if the case goes on for a long time, the amount that is asked, you have to pay. Sometimes the court adds interest to the amount that is pay to
subject to the.
It has to be covered.
Yeah, it's all covered, subject to the limits of the sum assured what you've taken.
Yeah. And one more, I don't know whether even you made that point. Now, for example, if the appeal goes from the district court to the state, now there is a amount to be paid.
Yeah.
Did you make that? Did you?
I've told that the 50% of the claim awarded has to be paid as a mandatory deposit, and in that usually the other routine insurances actually we have to make the arrangement for that payment, whereas here the documents will take care of the mandatory deposit part.
That's a very important thing.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Okay. Somebody asked that, that I think we are already covered, whether we can have our own lawyer other than who appoints a lawyer from the dockland or the judge.
Yeah, even because it's been asked again and again, I feel that you need to get this clarified, because normally dockland would insist on having their own panel of lawyers. You said they have 1,000 lawyers.
Yes, sir.
So if you say that you want to take your own lawyer and go, I don't think they would agree.
No, I mean,
no, it is stocked, and they have already agreed to actually, if it is in consensus with the Aomsi committee, they will definitely talk to the lawyer, and if the lawyer also agrees to be empaneled, they'll take up.
Even I'm not talking about empanelment. Empanelment comes before that. If I give you the name of 5 lawyers who I think should be empaneled, that's a different thing. Then I have a problem if I say, I don't want your lawyer, I'm going to take my lawyer and argue this, get this case sorted out in the thing. Will they agree? I don't think they will agree.
No. See, they always they work out on this thing based. So they work out.
George, I did speak to these people. They only will encourage their empaneled lawyers. You cannot employ your own lawyer because your lawyer can charge anything.
Exactly.
So they have already, for every city, they have actually identified so many lawyers. So you can recommend a lawyer into their empanelment.
That's the same thing I said, sir. Empanelment is only possible.
But only from those empaneled lawyers you can select, or they themselves will allot a lawyer to you.
True. Correct.
Yeah, as a Aomsi, as an association, we have
we can recommend. Yes,
we can recommend because if some cities are not well
represented.
So George and Manju, we will request them to actually engage you too. Definitely.
I think we should have. I mean, not me really. I'm retiring, but you can. I mean, I would give pro bono.
No.
I think what I meant is you should have a group of people who have interest in law. They don't have to be lawyers or anything like that.
In fact, I was discussing with Manju the other day itself that with. Wearing these hats, I think a kind of legal cell in Aomsi, kind of help group would be very, very useful. I mean, only when you have, I've faced death and the kind of threats which you get when you have a complication and nobody is there. You really want somebody to, your own professional colleagues to help you at that need of hours. So it's absolutely important that from Aomsi, we will definitely look at how we can actually have a legal cell also. Probably in the future.
Girish, I'm addressing this to you and to Manju, basically. I think this is probably a good time to start a legal cell. In fact, I was talking to Jimson about it, and as well as Epan, to have a kind of it can even be an expansion of the study groups that they have and all that, where you have on the spot aid given to people who are in distress.
Correct.
It might even be death. It may not even be a legal case.
Yeah.
People feel isolated. People feel very down. And if you need to give some kind of solace to them, it has to come from the organization. And the Aomsi has to take it up. I'm not talking about Dockland really. Correct. Because Dockland is not going to come and pat your back or give you any kind of solace at that point of time. I don't think if there's a mass of people standing outside my clinic threatening to beat me up, I don't expect Dockland to come. Whatever you say, Epan, they will not come. So we need to.
No, I didn't say they will come to protect from a mob.
Yeah. No. That's a very important thing. See, that is the biggest concern that most
they'll provide. They provide the legal support what is required to
but
state in the police station or whatever required.
Yeah,
So-
Dr. Girish, there's a very good move from
I saw the thing,
suggestions
right.
they've taken, and it's a very good thing. It's something like a rapid action for every city, and they want to make a group of people. If any problem happens, they come and stand. I think that is beyond this particular today's topic. I think that particular. Anyway, moving on. Yeah,
and there is one question from Dr. Pravesh that a contract is be between which all parties. I think it's the not
really, it's not relevant to this.
between the insurance and the person who's the surgeon. Yeah, Aomsi is just a facilitator.
No,
Absolutely.
And we have an agreement with the document services for the services what they will be providing listed
For our
and
members.
properly notarized, and the secretary will be signing the document with the CEO of that company.
I think we have covered almost all the questions, and there is one question which goes like this. It's not open for non-AOMSI members, but are the spouse of AOMSI members covered?
The present scheme actually is
Now,
applicable.
the spouse is also a dentist and practicing under the same.
Yeah, let the AMSA member, encourage her to become a OMF surgeon and become a member of association, and then we can have a family insurance. No problem. But as of now, the insurance
seat is there, Epan, your college bachelor of surgery.
So as of now, it is actually meant only
Only
for
for
members
AMSI.
of AOMSI.
And it is not even for SLM, it is only for life members. Yeah.
Life
So
members.
if somebody is not turned their SLM, they have to convert it into LM and then become a member.
Exactly.
Any other doubts?
I think we have covered almost all the questions, and most of the questions were covered in Ethan's presentation itself. But then there are a few more other queries which I think you have answered. Any other panelist has got any other question?
I think it's. I must compliment Ethan and Manju and Girish and of course Jimson for moderating this thing. I think you did an excellent job. I think it was very useful. I think it cleared a lot of doubts. It cleared a lot of doubts in my mind as well.
I think our association is doing a great job. The payout that we did for that
Social security.
Social security. Yeah.
Social security scheme and this indemnity. I mean, amazing. Kudos to you guys.
We only wish that more and more members actually enroll into our indemnity scheme.
Yes.
I think that is something which I think we need to encourage everybody. See, the thing is, speak to your friends, make sure that this is for the members. Our president Manju, with his lawyer's hat, he was so keen to do this scheme. When we were talking as to what are the things, what is your pet project, he said one of my favorite is indemnity scheme. And I think this is something which is going to be extremely valuable to every one of you, especially with the fact that you have a legal cover also. I mean, we all have indemnity cover. Today, to practice in a hospital, you will have to submit your indemnity cover, but that doesn't cover your legal cover. So I think this is something which is extremely useful. Thank you so much, Jimson, Epan. Honestly, Epan, you've really put your heart and soul into it. Fantastic. Kudos to you. And to our president also, Manju, really a fantastic job. And I'm sure this is going to be a beautiful, concept which has been brought to MSI. And I hope more and more members use this. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ramakrishna Shanai. Thank you, Mukul, and all the members, and to our Jimson for moderating this session. Thank you so much for the wonderful evening we had.
We will make sure that this particular the entire thing session has been recorded, and because we clarified a lot of.
Thank you, Manju. Thank you, Girish. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Josh Paul sir, Jimson, Shanai, Mukul, and Epan. I mean, Epan, your job is not over. It is, you're going to, keep doing this particular thing, keep clarifying all the doubts. And, one thing I just want to say is, like, unlike social security scheme, here numbers doesn't matter for us actually. One, because whether 100 joins or 1,000 joins, it all the same. But most importantly, what I look at, down the line, because somebody joins, whether this year or next year, once they join, I'm sure they're going to continue for long years, because most of the time you take professional indemnity once, you will not change that company unless and until you get some kind of a steal offer like this. So we were all with the AMC, which was better than compared to individual. Now, since we got this Dockland, we are shifting because there's at least around 40% benefit over here in this particular thing. So I'm sure these numbers will going to grow more and more down the years, and there will be thousands of people will be there at the end of around 2-3 years. So anyway, let's clear as much as possible. Again, safety, as we mentioned, the safety in everything, safety in a surgical practice, safety, as a social security scheme, and professional indemnity also is for a safety. So, we are moving in the theme of that safety for in a maxillofacial surgeon's life. So this is one more safety net for maxillofacial surgeons. So thank you all for participating. Dr. Shanai sir, Mukul, Jimson, you are our online king, and hearty congratulations for the principal of a new college. I don't know. Hope you will be as free as give us time. Don't become too over busy with the college. We need AMSI needs your time, and all Dr. Girish and everyone. Yeah, and as Dr. Josh Paul mentioned, Girish, we will show it to the advocate and vet it out, and then go further. Sure. Epan, a big thanks to you.
Yeah, one point I would like to just say as concluding remark before Jimson takes over. Whatever clarifications I've given to the answers to the questions, and whatever assurances what I've said in various aspects, whether it's civil or criminal, is all from what has been reflected in the written agreement given by the Docklands to the Aomsi-Pi. The realistic part or not, that is something what we have to just experience and see. Though these are all what is given in written, and this is going to be legally vetted by the president and secretary, and then thereafter we'll be continuing with that part. So this session will be actually recorded and will be available in a Zoom link. Is it, Manju?
Yeah, YouTube. I think Shilpa will tell us. Yeah,
I'm on
YouTube or this one. Yeah, thanks Shilpa, A1 Logics, Praveen, and all the panelists. Yeah, thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you all. Happy Holi. Bye. Good night.